So great, Najoo, we're finally here.
Yeah?
And we managed to give me some time.
No, I'm always free. I'm Najoo, and I'm a seeker. My goal in life is to realize my full divine potential and also to help others realize their full potential. I'm married and I have 2 children, and I'm also a grandmother with my 1-year-old baby.
Wonderful.
And we meet every weekend. I have a group of seekers, you can say.
Okay.
And we meet every weekend. We study some scriptures which we have decided to study for the moment. Plus we have meditation, and every session we meet there is a sadhana given. Sadhana means a spiritual practice, which they do for a month.
Okay.
And then we review the next month how it's gone, and then we take it one step further every time.
Can you give us some example of what a sadhana is?
It could be as simple as observing your breath.
Oh, okay.
It could be as simple as in the middle of an activity stopping and seeing whether you're enjoying yourself or feeling stressed.
I see.
It could be as simple as and different sadhanas for different people and different sadhanas for different purposes. So it could be just lovingly preparing a cup of tea and offering it to someone.
Okay.
It could be ending your day with a prayer of gratitude and beginning again before getting out of bed with another prayer of appreciation.
I see.
So there are thousands of practices. For some people it could be doing a puja. For some people it could be chanting Om.
Okay.
Doing jap.
I see.
Or mantra. There are thousands of practices.
Right. And how does one arrive? Did the person himself or herself decide what is a sadhana for himself or herself?
No,
or is
a
that
guru
something
has to give. A guru has to give the
Okay.
sadhana, or a mentor, or a guide,
Okay.
or someone who obviously understands the problem that the person is facing
Okay.
and
Think of the appropriate
can think of the appropriate solution.
sadhana for the
Yeah.
person. So, okay, and so you basically have some sort of a guide to help decide, or it just comes from within for you to say that, do Om.
Actually, everything that I suggest are things that I have practiced myself.
Okay.
I never suggest anything that I have not done myself and found that it works on me.
I see.
And fortunately or unfortunately, I always say that I've had my fair share of problems and I've been through many ups and many more downs. And in 58 years of my life, I think I have kind of faced more or less most of the problems that general people face.
Okay.
And I've also had the good fortune of meeting many mentors, meeting many evolved teachers, and I've always been in the learning mode. So I've always absorbed what they've had to say. Even when I read a book, it's not just reading a book.
Okay.
It's like, how can I apply it in my life?
Okay.
And with honest introspection, I have managed to more or less surmount all the obstacles that have come in my life.
Wow.
And when someone comes to me with a problem, and many do, almost every week 2-3 people will come with a problem, I'm ready, I'm always available for them, and somehow or the other I relate to that problem.
Right.
Because mostly I've been through it,
Right.
or I've helped somebody else been through it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it comes.
Okay.
And I have a Guruji, of course,
Okay.
who is Swami Chidambaranand Maharaj,
Okay.
and he mentors me in how to help people.
I see.
He has taught me the power of mantra
Okay.
and what mantras can be used for different problems of life, you can call them,
Okay.
like health or financial or relationship, and he is continuously training me, you can say,
Okay.
in this
area.
art of helping people.
I see. I see. So, can we go back a little bit on your journey? When do you think it actually began, And can you share with us the various either Gurujis or the mentors you've met?
Sure.
And how did that go? You know?
Oh,
I mean, we could probably be here for a very long time, but I said...
I will do it in short.
No. We wouldn't mind hearing the details.
Okay. I think it started with my birth.
Right. What did you realize, but?
I realized...
That, you're a seeker. Was it in your teens or 20s or later?
Let me see, I'll come to that. When I go through my life, I never really thought, when did I realize that I'm a seeker?
Right.
I never thought of that question.
Right. Okay, so we all know we probably seek at birth. And what was the first experience you'd like to share?
My first experience is with my dad.
Okay. How old were you?
I was about 4 or 5.
So that's like as good as the first few memories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say the first few memories were spending quality time with him, appreciating nature.
I see. What was he doing?
He was a very pious Parsi man.
Okay.
Very religious in his Parsi religion.
Okay.
Doing his, we don't call it puja in Parsi, but doing his Parsi prayers.
Right.
And going to the fire temple every day.
Which is where at?
There are many in Bombay.
Bombay.
He had one at Fountain where he would go regularly.
I see.
And I would always see him being connected to something, some power higher.
Right.
And he had taught me a prayer, which is basically, help me God to live a good life.
I see.
Help me God to not be stressed. Help me God to do good to others. This was like a very simple prayer.
Right. Okay.
And as he evolved, he moved from being just religiously involved to opening up to spirituality. And that happened, I think, when he met Rajneesh.
I see.
Who was later called Osho.
Right.
But when we met him, he was Rajneesh.
Right.
And he had he had quite a nice little flat at Kemp's Corner.
Right.
Where I was still in school at that time. And my dad used to go there every evening.
I see.
For a small satsang of about 10-12 people.
I see.
And as a school kid, I used to go along with him.
I see.
And not that I knew what was spirituality, but I think the sanskars, which we say, the impressions,
Right.
were sown at that time.
And how old were you at this time?
I must have been in my teens
okay.
by then.
I see.
I must have been in my teens by
I
then.
see. Okay.
And also, I grew up in a big joint family.
Oh, I see.
So I had an aunt. We were 20 people living together.
Wow.
And one of my aunts was into faith called Christian Science.
Okay.
Which was healing through an energy which you visualize coming into you and passing through you to the person who has to be healed.
I see.
And the faith that it is possible.
Okay.
So my mom was a person who was continuously having headaches.
Okay.
She was not at all into religion and spirituality. She was like, I had the best of both. So I can say the best of both because I learned from both.
Right.
And so my aunt would tell me, go and make your mother's headache okay. So I said, how?
Right.
So put your hand on her head and imagine that you are receiving a power to make her headache go away, and then you just visualize that her headache has gone away. So as a small child, maybe about 10 years old, I started doing that.
I see.
And that gave me one more input that there is a power higher than me who can do things through me.
Right.
So that was another input I got very much in childhood.
Okay. And did it work?
Always.
Oh, so your mom was like, hey Najoo, come, I got a headache.
Yeah, so it was like a continuous because she always had headaches. But I didn't know what I was doing, and therefore obviously I could not make her headache go away forever because it was just an innocent little child doing something which felt good for her, and it was making her mother feel fine for the moment.
But your mom actually felt the headache go away.
I believe she did, because otherwise she wouldn't have called me again and again to do it.
Right. And this would take what, 5-10 minutes or?
I guess, I don't remember also. But yeah, probably something. I don't think a 10-year-old child would have patience to sit for hours. But I know she would call me for her headache, and then she would call me for her leg ache, and she would call me for a foot ache, and she would have many aches. So I was more or less looking after my mother at that young age.
I see.
Then we used to go for many camps with Rajneesh.
Okay.
And I know one particular one stands out in my memory. It was at Mount Abu.
I see.
At that time, I think, now that question which you asked, that you are a seeker.
Realization.
I think it was at that camp. That I must have been about 18, 19 or 20 maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
20ish. And lots of deep meditations, and he used to do a lot of catharsis meditations where we would do some process by which I know that I was crying for some good 45 minutes and letting go of a whole lot of God knows what from me, and it made me feel lighter. And then I know Rajneesh called me and he said to me, Sannyas le lo.
I see.
By that time my dad was already a sannyasi.
I see.
Sannyas le lo. And I had the gumption to say, Abhi nahi.
What was the fear? What was...
I just was not ready for it. I knew that there is something that I needed to explore. I was on my way to going in to do my post-graduation in Delhi, and I wasn't probably ready for it. There was no fear.
Okay, there's no fear.
There was no fear.
It isn't like, oh, I got to wear the mala and I got to wear this orange clothes.
No, I love that.
Oh, you love that?
I love that, and I still love it. I'm waiting to wear the mala, and the orange mala already is there.
Okay.
I'm waiting to wear the orange clothes.
Okay, so you did take sannyas later.
Mala doesn't mean taking sannyas.
Oh,
actually, people have quite misunderstood the whole concept of taking sannyas.
Okay.
They think taking sannyas means wearing orange clothes and putting on a mala.
Well, I think...
For Rajneesh, it was that.
Right, because I think what he wanted was people to make that shift and say, okay, wear orange and wear the mala and feel uncomfortable about wearing it.
But that's not taking sannyas. There are other ways to make the shift, and the shift happens here.
Sure.
Not in the clothes.
Right, absolutely.
And you can wear clothes, orange clothes, and still do all the gadbad possible in the world, and you are seeing the newspapers are full of it.
Right.
With people in orange robes and 55 malas and stuff on their head and face, and they are doing all the gadbad in the world.
Right.
Sannyasi is basically leaving an attachment, and that attachment is only an attachment to your concept of who I am.
So that's why, in the sense, why the clothes, at least I remember both my mom and dad when they took sannyas. My dad gave it up later because he couldn't let go of the attachment of being associated with Rajneesh or with...
Sure.
So for him, the mala or this thing, that means I have to let go of my regular clothes.
Yeah.
He couldn't let go of society and what people would say.
But you can have these clothes, you can have the home, you can have the name, you can have everything. But you can still let go the attachment to the concept of I am the body, mind and intellect. It's a concept in the mind which needs to let go. Once that is gone, it hardly matters. If I'm not the body, it hardly matters what clothes I put on.
Maybe that was a sadhana.
Yeah, it was. It was a method.
Right.
It was a method which he used.
Yeah,
it was like more like a forceful method, like a danda method.
Right.
Which works for some people,
right,
and may not have worked for your dad, and that's also okay.
Exactly. Cool. So that was when you said...
I think probably that's when I realized that I have somewhere to go, I have something to seek, but maybe not now. The time will come.
Okay. So this was again when you were about 20?
I think when I was 20, because I know that I was going for my postgrad to Delhi, so I must have been 21 maybe.
Okay. And what was the next thing that happened to you after that?
After that, nothing much in terms of spirituality happened for a while.
You went back to life and...
I was always with life, so I never gave up on life, and I still haven't given up on life. Life is meant to be lived 100%.
Sure.
And but I did have some more inputs, some very, very significant inputs.
From work or college?
No, in the spiritual thing, but I was very much, I got married, I had children, but I still had that, fortunately for me, consciously or unconsciously, the spiritual growth was continuing, oblivious of my efforts.
For example?
For example, I was introduced to another program called Silva Mind Control.
Okay.
And that really had made me take a quantum leap in my evolution, I think.
I see.
There I really got a pakka belief
Okay.
that there is a wonderful power above us, within us, which we can use to help others.
So can you expand a little bit on that Silva Mind Control? What happens?
Silva Mind Control makes you aware of the different levels that your mind is operating at. There is a beta level where we are right now in the waking state.
Okay.
So there are electrical impulses in the mind, just like you have heartbeats.
Okay.
There are impulses in the brain,
Okay.
which work at different frequencies. Maybe I'm not saying all the technical words. Okay.
Okay.
So when we are awake, we are operating at 14 to 22 cycles.
Okay.
All right.
The frequency.
The frequency.
Okay.
Or whatever. Let's not go into the technical things.
Okay. Whatever.
So we are at the brain is working, or the mind is working, or the whatever your consciousness is working at a level where you are able to interact with the outside world.
Okay.
When you are sleeping in deep sleep,
Yeah.
it goes completely to a level like 4 cycles per minute.
I see.
Deep sleep,
Okay.
delta level they call it.
Okay.
When you're in coma, it goes even less.
Oh, I see.
Huh? And then there's an in-between stage, I think that is the 14 to 22, which is called alpha level,
Oh, okay.
which is when you dream at night.
Beta is above alpha?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So you're able to interact,
Right.
you're fully awake.
Away.
Below that comes alpha,
Okay.
where you are in the dream state, and when you're meditating, it's at that state.
Okay.
And that is the time where your mind can tap into your own powers or the powers above, or whichever way a person wants to look at it, and use that power to heal the world, to heal people, or to visualize what you want and get what you want.
I see.
So that's the Silva Mind Control method taught me how to get to that level scientifically.
And how did that work out? Did you actually go through some experience of?
It's a 40-hour program,
Okay.
and definitely in the program they help you to you are able to be at that level. For example, one example I'll give you. Somebody is sitting in front of you. They simply give you some health problem that some unknown person in Calcutta or America is facing.
Okay.
They give you the symptoms.
Okay.
And at that level you can actually visualize that entire person.
Okay.
So you then you will, in that state, you will say that person is whatever 42 years old and is unable to speak or whatever, and rest of the stuff is written. So you give the feedback. Yes, you are right. So it kind of reinforces that I'm on the right path.
Wow.
And you can make the complete picture of that person, and depending on each person's ability to
Go into that
level,
Yeah.
You are able to tell exactly what is wrong with that person and what he can do, what he can't do. But we don't leave it at that, and then we go into that person and we heal that person at alpha level.
I see.
And then bless the person, everything, whatever, and come out. And many people have actually said that then you can call that person and say, how are you feeling? I felt something very funny happening to me. I was actually feeling some vibrations or whatever.
Each depending on the person's sensitivity to what they felt.
So that helped me a lot. Plus, there was one more program later where the actual founder of that entire thing, José Silva, had himself come down to India.
Oh, is he still
He's
alive?
passed away.
He's passed away.
He was more than 85 years old at that
time. So his program still runs?
Still runs.
It's
a wonderful program for anyone who's going into the spiritual realm of
Okay.
progress, I would say.
So 40 hours goes across how many days?
2 weekends.
2 weekends. Oh, Saturday, Sunday packed.
Yeah, packed.
I see.
And they teach you scientifically how to meditate.
I see.
And I think for people who have a scientific bent of mind, who
Will
will
like
not,
it.
yeah, who will very much like it.
I see.
Will very much like it. And then José Silva himself came and taught us one more thing which he calls ultra healing. It's a healing program.
I see.
So it's through your hands. There are certain procedures which he teaches us where you can actually heal people.
And this is like a Reiki kind of thing or different?
All healing is the same, whether it's pranic healing, Reiki healing, this healing, that healing. Basically what you're doing is you're opening up yourself up to a higher energy.
As a channel.
And just allowing that energy to
flow,
pass through.
Okay.
And you're visualizing and positively affirming. And that's what healing is.
I see.
You can do it hands-on, you can do it across the continent, you can do it in a different part of the world. They're all same.
I see.
They're different parts of doing the same thing.
Okay. Great. So this was again at your 30s, 20s?
This must have been in my late 20s or even 30s maybe.
Okay.
And this program then I made my children also do. They were very young.
Okay.
But they did the entire 40 hours and they are still using those methods.
I see.
They are still using those methods.
Okay. And they use it.
And I still use some of those methods in my program.
Okay. Yeah. So it's been with you since
Oh
then.
yes, very powerful. Very powerful. Practical methods of dealing with day-to-day problems.
I see. Wonderful. So this was the 30s, and then what was the next thing that
The next thing was when I got introduced to a program called SSY, Siddha Samadhi Yoga.
Okay.
And that's also a wonderful program which will help you deal with all external stressors in your life.
Okay. And this was something you did at what age?
Late 40s maybe.
Okay, so there's then after Silver Mind and SSY there was nothing in between, right?
There was a lot of reading.
Okay.
There was a lot of reading, a lot of personal introspection, a lot of self-questioning, self-inquiry, which of course there was one very big step I took, which again was another, I can say, landmark in my life.
Okay.
It wasn't when I met a guru or a master, but I took a trek to Kailash Mansarovar.
Okay.
And that was a big turning point in my life.
So this is like which year? You must have been in the 90s?
Say 2000.
2000,
maybe.
okay. So recently, about 10 years back.
Yeah, about 10 years back.
Okay, and what did that do for you?
That forced me to be for 1 month on my own.
Okay, you got to be a whole month away.
Away from life.
Reality.
And you're walking and you're walking, you start walking early morning and you're walking in the most unfriendly and difficult mountainous region. There's a river almost always flowing beside you and thoughts keep coming in your mind, and that forces you to think about things which you have, maybe you're too busy, you don't want to think about certain things, you kind of push them back in your mind. Most people do that. And here there is nothing else to distract you. There is no job to be done, there is no family to be taken care of, there are no deadlines to be met, there is nothing. So you are forced to confront your skeletons, and at the same time there is water flowing. So and it's like a washing off of all the past agitations and disturbances. And when I went on this, actually it's a yatra, but mostly taken up by those who worship Shiva.
I see.
But I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know who is Shiva. I didn't know what is Parvati. I didn't know what is Mansarovar. I didn't know what is Kailash.
Okay.
All I knew is I was running a gym and one of my clients had done the trek. And she said, it's the most beautiful place in the world.
I see.
And I said, well then I must go. So I said, how do I go there? She said, well, look out for the advertisement which the government of India prints in the newspaper. Apply. And then by lottery, your chance will come. Maybe this year, next year, 5 years later.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I don't know about all this. And she only applied when the
see.
ad came, and the first year I got the
Wow.
call.
I see.
So when I went, I didn't know for what I was going. All I knew is I was going to a very beautiful place. But there were many, what can I say? You can call them hallucinations if you want.
Okay.
But I would...
Insights?
No, I would actually see forms of gods.
Oh.
Which I didn't know that this was the form of a Shiva that I'm seeing.
I see.
Or this was the form of Kali Mata that I'm seeing. But later when I would see pictures, I would say that's what I saw.
I see.
And maybe it was a way of the universe for bringing me onto the path that was meant for me.
I see.
Since I had been exploring so
Right.
many different paths, and I'm a person who's very open.
Okay.
In the sense that if something comes my way, I will, like a mad person, go 100%. I'll just jump into the pool.
Okay.
I'll not question.
Okay.
And I will do it 100%.
Okay.
Head on.
Right.
And I will give it enough time also
Okay.
to have its effect on me.
Okay.
And then when I've kind of wrung it dry and I've got everything I've got and I'm not progressing anymore in that, then I know that I need to find something else.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so all the programs that I did, I've continuously gone that way. So this also was probably, I took it as maybe another path is opening up for me,
Okay.
another way for me to go.
Okay.
And it was.
So were there many things you realized from that walk?
Many things.
I see. Any one highlight out of
things.
all of that which you could be happy to share?
For example, the trek is over weeks
Okay.
and it's very difficult.
Okay.
So you have a Sherpa with you,
What's that?
a guide,
Okay.
like a little boy who
Okay.
lives in the mountains, and he kind of holds your bag and
Oh,
your
I see.
bottle, and he kind of takes you
Okay.
over the difficult paths. And you'll start the trek before sunrise
Okay.
because you have to go from one camp to the next camp. And that camp could be 15 kilometers away or 35 kilometers away
Oh.
or 8 kilometers away. And if you don't reach that camp, you can't stop because it's barren in between. There's no other place you can stop for the night.
I
So
see.
you have to start early enough so that you
You
can
can make
reach
it.
before sunset.
I see.
So we would start around sunrise, sometimes earlier, and keep walking and keep walking. And there's very little oxygen. So you get
Why?
it's very high
I see. I see.
in the Himalayas.
Okay. Got it.
And so we would ask the Sherpa, kitna dur hai? And he would say, yahi pahad ko par karna hai. He would only say, you have to only cross this next mountain. And that, we knew it was not true. But we would keep going because he would encourage, just one more mountain, just one more mountain. And that taught me a beautiful lesson. That don't worry about how far your goal is.
Just
Concentrate on the next hurdle.
Nice.
Just cross it. And when the next hurdle comes, just cross it.
I see. So that little boy taught you something.
A little stream also taught me.
Right.
Sitting up in the mountain, there was a small mountain stream.
Okay.
It was bubbling, it was joyful, it was gurgling, and there were big rocks. But it didn't stop that little stream.
Okay.
When a rock came, it would either gently go over the rock, or it would gently go by the side of the rock,
Okay.
or sometimes I would see that the stream would make a hollow in the rock and go through.
True.
So just keep gently flowing. That flowingness in life,
Wow.
that stream taught me.
I see.
Like that, there were
Lots
so
of little things.
many beautiful things and lots of poems written on them.
Oh, you wrote poems with them?
Over there.
Okay. So where are they now?
They're there somewhere in my house.
You haven't thought of publishing them?
No, not really.
Or it was just something you felt like writing?
Yeah, and I keep writing.
Okay.
Whenever something I like to express in writing. So.
Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking up the time to express all of this on film.
I have only one goal in life, Rishi, now.
Okay.
I feel like I have achieved most of my what we call vyavaharik goals. That means my relationship goals or my duties in the family or
Okay.
in society. I feel I can honestly say I have done most of that. And now I feel I have only one goal, and that is to keep walking towards my higher energy, towards my source, and whatever I can do, if whatever I speak or whatever I do or whatever I say or whatever I teach can even help one more person,
that's like,
I've paid my rent on this planet, for my space on this planet. Or this life has had some meaning.
Yeah, yeah.
So if whatever I'm speaking,
yeah, in fact that makes so much sense to me, because if you know, when we started originally to find out why I'm doing this, maybe that's what I didn't realize I was feeling. I felt like, you know, I've got a lot of information, and let's try and take it to as many people as possible. So this whole idea of, you know, talking to people like you who have made a difference in my life, or I have learned something from, I just want to make sure this gets to anybody else.
And there are millions of kinds of people.
Yeah.
And everything doesn't appeal to everyone.
Right, exactly.
So if what I'm saying appeals to one person and it inspires them, not just appeal is okay. It must inspire them to take the action towards that.
Right.
Move on, because unless you move on, you're dead, you're
Right.
stagnant.
So there's actually a lot of information in here which probably, since I'm going to make this available online, is there something I can Google on or search it on, this trip where you mentioned you went to for a month walking? Is there a lot of information online?
A lot of information.
So if you just Google it,
Absolutely. Kailash Mansarovar Yatra.
Okay, so people Google this, they'll get the
Absolutely.
the
I
correct.
have a whole video on it. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
What a video on it as in?
When I went on the first trip, and I've been twice.
Okay.
The first trip I went through the government of India.
Yeah.
So they take batches of 40.
Okay.
Almost every month.
Okay.
Starting from June to September.
Okay.
And so I went, as I said, not knowing where I was going, and
Right.
I was alone.
Right.
In this group of 40, I didn't know anyone.
Right.
But on the trip, about 9 of us kind of bonded, you can say.
Okay.
And one of them, who lives in Kolhapur, Prakash, was the videoer of the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And he made this beautiful video and sent a copy to each of us.
Okay.
And I was sitting in my gym
Okay.
and seeing it, and it inspired me to make a commentary.
I see.
So I wrote.
All what you on the video.
I wrote a script.
Yeah. You wrote a script for the video.
For the video, and edited it on my own very basic computer. And also found music for it.
Oh, lovely.
And then I took an overnight trip to Kolhapur, where he stays. And in one small little studio, not even studio, somebody's office, we put it all together.
Okay.
So I've done the commentary with my voice.
Okay.
And we put some music.
So where is this video right now?
It's somewhere in my house.
Okay, so can this be on YouTube or something?
Sure, most definitely.
So then I'll collect it from you and put it up on the channel.
Yeah,
so and I'll probably link it to this so that they can then go and look at that.
It's very
video.
beautiful. I mean, even if I have to say it myself, it is pretty, because it's a beautiful place.
Right.
It is heaven on earth.
Okay.
It is really heaven on earth.
And so the guys managed to capture a lot of
beautiful
that.
things, beautiful
Because
pictures.
What happens to me when I go to these scenic spots, you know, and I'm like, wow, this is beautiful, and I try and get my camera and my, to capture some of it. Then I go back and say, this was not at all like how I was feeling the mountain was breathing.
Yeah. Well, with all the limitations of camera, can never compare to what you feel in real life.
Right, because there's so many more senses.
Still, it is beautiful.
Okay.
Or maybe I find it more beautiful because when I see it, I remember what I felt.
Oh, maybe.
So I'm making that connection.
I see.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
That's possible. Great. So this was in 2000, and then when did you go again? The next year?
Almost the next year I went again.
I see.
Yeah. That I went through Nepal. That means you go you don't walk so much. You take a car until the base camp.
Okay.
And then the last 3 days when you do the parikrama, that means you circumambulate, you go around the mountain, Kailash mountain, that you have to do by foot. You cannot do it any other way.
Okay.
That was the next day. But I preferred the first trip.
I see. Well, do you think you preferred it because you did not know what to expect? And this was like, oh, I didn't feel this and I didn't feel that as in a comparison?
No. In fact, I have something to share on that.
Okay.
The first trip I didn't know
what to expect. Right.
And it was the beauty and the silence and the learnings. But the second trip, it was a calling.
Oh.
The second trip was a calling, because on the first trip, because of bad weather, we could not do the full parikrama of Mount Kailash properly.
Okay.
And it was something left incomplete within me.
I see.
And the second time when it happened that there was a trip going, it just so happened that 2 days before the trip, I heard about, well, not 2 days, I think say 5 days before the trip, I heard this trip was going. The next day I heard somebody had got some measles, chicken pox, somebody was cancelling. So I said, can I join? Visa, everything happened, and I went.
Oh yeah, Nepal means visa.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, even for Mount Kailash you have to take a visa.
Oh, it's not in India?
Not in India, it's in China. It's in occupied China.
Okay.
So you're walking from India to China.
Oh,
actually.
I see. Well, you know, actually, at this point, first, why don't you complete what happened in the second time, and then I want to ask you a question.
Second time, I knew, by that, between the first trip and the second trip, lots of stirrings of my experiences, a lot of growth, a lot of shedding of the past, a lot of opening. And when I went there and I saw Mount Kailash again, I think I became new. I think something happened to me. I don't know what it was. But it was like I've come home. I felt like I've come to the path which is going to take me home. It was like I was feeling drawn. I was feeling drawn to Mount Kailash. I was just feeling like I need to go there again. I need to get some energy from there, and I was feeling that energy. I was feeling strong. I was feeling confident. It was like I knew where I was going, and I was going closer and closer. I felt like the path was opening up for me. And that was beautiful. That was not beautiful. It was very empowering.
I see.
It was very empowering. That experience was something else.
You know, I've been actually watching a lot of videos on YouTube, and one video leads you to another, and that happens on the internet. And I stumbled across a couple of people talking about these zones on the planet Earth. And I think most of these zones are in the sea, like the Bermuda Triangle is one of them in the sea. And a lot of these spots across the globe, and two of them are on land, one of them is the Himalayas. Now, I don't know whether it is close to where you're saying.
Yeah.
And an idea had come across that I think the reason why the Chinese is trying to take over that area, the Tibet and all of that area, is probably to see what's happening in those zones.
Well, I can tell you one thing, that there is spiritual energy there in that air. You breathe it. Right. And people ask me, why are you going again and again to Mount Kailash? What is there? Right. After such a long walk, where do you go? Is there a temple there? I said, no, there's no temple. There is no dham, there is no dharamshala, there is no monument, there's nothing.
I see.
Then what are you going to? And I tell them, the yatra is not the destination. The yatra is the journey.
Okay.
It's the journey. It's your attitude as you're walking. It's your mindfulness. And you can do it that way, or you can do it in a completely mindless way, where you're listening to Hindi music, or you're fighting with people, and lots of people fight over there because of lack of oxygen. It affects the brain.
Oh my goodness.
And I was warned of that.
I see.
In Delhi, before we went, there was a Sufi or a yogi or whatever, and they would come every day for 4 days before we would leave, and people would come and give us inputs on what to expect and how to do and how to take care of the winter and how to take care of the skin and the hair and whatever. And there was this one yogi who has done this trip. In fact, he lives there, and only in the winter months they bring him back. And he called me aside and he told me, he said, "Beti, आप ध्यान रखना, वहाँ जाके सब लोग झगड़ेंगे. Everyone will be fighting like children. And you must know what is your goal, and you must stay calm, and you must just keep walking." Now, I didn't know what was my goal then, But I remembered his words, keep walking.
I see.
So I would keep walking. And people would be fighting about this is my spot and this is your spot and why did you waste this potato and you got more water than me and you're sitting in my place. You know, it affects the brain because you're so high up, there's very little oxygen and it affects the way you think and even your motor movements. Like you're trying to reach for something here and your hand goes there.
Oh.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And of course, it is scary. Therefore, you need. It was a superb learning experience, and I think everyone should do that trip once in life. In fact, Sai Club is probably we're doing one trip together.
Oh, when are you guys going? Next year?
Hopefully.
Okay, great. Is there a place where people can go to find out the what's happening at Sai Club, or is it only specific to people in and around Bombay, South Bombay?
Not South Bombay. In fact, most of my people are from North Bombay.
Oh.
Yeah, there are very few people from South Bombay.
I see.
Most people are from Borivali, Kandivali, Ghatkopar, Powai, Chembur, and I don't know where else poor people come from.
Okay.
But they do make the effort to come.
Okay.
We meet every weekend.
I see.
And I haven't made a website. I'm not interested actually in increasing numbers. That's not my purpose.
No, access to information. They may not actually make the trip to come down for the Sai Club, but in case
I really don't know where they would get the information. It's more of word of mouth.
I see.
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Actually, I don't think there's any place where they can find it out.
Great. So what was the next trip after this, like 2 trips that you made? Now the next one you're going to make next year. Maybe we'll come back for a second round of a session with you.
I think the next one will be even more meaningful.
I see.
Because I have grown
in
the period of this time since my last trip and now. I know now why I was in Mount Kailash.
Okay.
I know why that something was drawing me there because I do draw a lot of energy from Shiva.
Okay.
I do draw a lot of energy. I worship Shiva every day.
I see.
I do a puja to the Shivling every day.
I see.
And of course that is a whole other topic, why one should do puja.
Okay.
But once you believe that everything is energy,
right,
then everyone is also that same energy.
Right.
And even this chair is the same energy, and everything is the same energy.
Right.
Then why shouldn't an idol also have that energy?
Okay. Okay, but to do the puja?
To do the puja is basically a sadhana.
I see, okay, got it.
Okay, it's a practice, and I share something very pertinent with you. All practices in whichever realm or whichever denomination or whichever religion or whichever path, all those spiritual practices are only taking you to one purpose. And that purpose is that we want to make our mind clear of what they say, 60,000 thoughts that you get in a day.
Okay.
To be able to narrow it down, still it, silence it, stabilize it to that one thought.
Okay.
If you can train your mind to narrow down all thoughts and bring it down to that one thought, then you channelize that one thought to the supreme thought, to the Lord, to the energy. You are able to harness all your power to visualize that one energy, and that is what brings about the transformation from a limited being to that supreme being. So whatever activity you're doing, whether it is japa or chant or puja or mindful walking or Zen meditation, gardening, cooking, what you're doing is narrowing down your mind, eliminating all extraneous thoughts and processes and allowing it to focus on one thought. Like there's a story about a seeker who goes to a guru and he says, I want to meditate. So he said, okay, go sit over there and meditate. Think of God. So he sits, and it's in a village. So after some time he says, Guruji, I can't meditate. What's the problem? He says, all the time when I'm closing my eyes, I'm thinking of my bhais, my buffalo. So the Guruji said, very good. Keep your thoughts focused on the bhais. Keep thinking of the buffalo. So instead of thinking of buffalo, wife, crops, earth, education, children, hundreds of things, at least now, which is very rare, you are only thinking of buffalo.
Okay.
Once you train your mind to think only of the buffalo, the next step is very easy. From buffalo, you think of God. So all spiritual practices are basically only for this one purpose, stilling and silencing the mind.
I see. Interesting. So after this, this is something you got from the trip, or this was?
It was a seed, I can say. The trip was laid the seed, because there it is so dangerous. The path is so dangerous when you're walking. In fact, we have to give an affidavit to the government that I give you full responsibility. If I die on this trip, you can leave my body there.
Okay. No, Guru is going to bring it back.
It cost 5 lakhs to bring the body back.
Oh, with the chopper and all.
Chopper. So that affidavit you give. So firstly, you have given up your life on taking this yatra.
It's like almost like a suicide.
Almost like a letting go.
Letting go. Okay.
It's not a suicide. Suicide is negative.
Okay.
You're letting go. Whatever, it's God's will.
I see. And do people die on this trip?
Almost every year, 2-3 people die.
Of a total of how many people?
Of a total of some thousands who go.
Okay, so it's like point something %.
But it's there. It's
there.
There was a time when there was a big landslide, and an entire group died. An entire, like, you must have heard of Pooja Bedi. Pooja Bedi.
Yes.
Her mother Pratima Bedi.
Yes.
Died
in one of those
landslides.
I see. Wow.
So there the path is very narrow, and it's one side is this huge mountain,
and the other
side is this huge valley.
Oh.
And some paths are literally where how much my hand is showing. That's the width of this chair.
You better walk carefully.
And
so
you
your
have to
shoes is
you
good
have
grip.
To walk very good shoes, but still the mindfulness in walking. You put your foot down. Now it's no amount of training on the treadmill or in Bombay City will train you for that, because it's uneven.
Okay.
It is rocky, and the rocks are not embedded, they are loose rocks.
So you can fall.
You can fall. And it's raining, and there are waterfalls, so it's also wet.
My goodness.
Now see the mindfulness, which I learned. I've put one foot down. Now I cannot simply lift my other foot without knowing that this foot is firmly stable. So before I lift my other foot, my whole body, mind, everything is in how stable is this. Then I lift my other foot and I put it down. And once I'm sure this foot is stable, then I will lift my other foot and put it down. So you are totally in that moment. If for one moment I'm thinking of children, gym, whatever, spouse, whatever, I'm losing my focus of this moment.
I see.
This is a great training. This is a great spiritual practice. This is a sadhana.
I see. Now I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So then after this trip, where you got all of these wonderful insights and actually it helps in focusing and things like that, what was the next thing that you...
I was teaching SSY, the program which I attended as a student.
How did that happen?
Attending or teaching?
First attending and then teaching.
Attending, one flyer came in with a newspaper in my house. I saw it. It said, what did it say? It said, find the full potential of your mind or something like that.
Okay.
I said, good, you know. Oh, yeah, I remember. I was running a gym and it said, it cures all diseases.
Okay. That was a catchline.
Obesity, this. Not that I had any of the diseases, but because I was running a gym, I had clients who had all these diseases. So I said, this is good. Let me go find it out. Like, what is the method of curing all these diseases? And I can use it in my professional life.
Okay. It was to get something for your business.
Correct. But, you know, we have limited intelligence. So we may think we are doing something for what we think we are doing it for. But divine intelligence knows where it's taking you.
I see.
And I know why it took me to SSY.
I see. see. So what happened when you went to SSY?
I learnt many things. I had a great impact. It had a great impact on my life, and I wanted to share it with others. So immediately I started teaching it. In less than 6 months of doing it, I was already teaching it to others.
I see.
And I taught it in a way of sharing. It was not for any financial gain. In fact, I refused to take any money for those classes which I was taking.
Right.
Because of SSY, which is like a self-development, self-development, personality development program, I got involved in something where I have no business to be involved, and that was a management program.
Okay.
Called Professional Insights.
Okay.
And I'm not at all practical minded. Although I ran a business, I had no managerial skills of running. It was being run from my heart. But here I was formulating a management program and teaching it.
Okay.
And there also sometimes I would question, what the hell am I doing here? But as I said, when I do something, I do it 100%.
Okay.
So I was quite good at it.
I see.
And then that took me to a corporation in Hyderabad who bought the program.
I see.
And so I would have to go once a week for 8 weeks to Hyderabad with a co-trainer.
I see.
And give the program to them.
Oh, okay.
And on one of those trips, my co-trainer asked me, would you like to meet an enlightened master?
Okay.
And I said, what a question to ask, obviously. So I said, let's go, like right now. So he called the master up, and he said, yeah, we'll meet. And that took about a month before I could actually get to meet him. So in one of those trips over those 8 weeks, I said, look, I've had enough of waiting. Call him up right now. And we were on the way back from Hyderabad by plane. I said, call him up right now from Hyderabad airport. Say we are reaching in 2 hours. Can we come today? So luckily it was my lucky day. And he said, yes, bring her.
Okay.
So straight from the airport, we went to Mira Road.
Oh, he's in Mira Road.
And
wow.
I met my Sadguru.
Nice.
And I had one look at him. He's all of 32 years old.
Okay.
Now he's 33.
Okay.
And
so this was last year?
No, it was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And he was so young and so pure and so innocent and so smiling, and it was like totally transparent person I'm seeing.
I see.
And he said, he asked me about my life, he asked me many things, and then he asked me, what do you want?
Okay.
Because most people go to gurus for some problem in their life.
Okay.
And I don't know, I just said, he said, what do you want? He speaks in Hindi.
Okay.
He said, "Aap kya chahte hain?"
Okay.
I said, moksha.
Yeah.
And he said, koi baat nahi, le chalunga.
Okay.
I'll take you there.
Okay.
So I said, kabhi. He laughed and he said, hum baithenge. That is his way of saying,
Okay.
it will happen.
Okay.
So I said, again, kabhi.
Okay.
So he said he was traveling for the next couple of months, and we would meet and he would tell me what to do when he came back. I was not ready to wait.
What a date.
So I said, tab tak main kya karungi?
Correct.
So he said, I told him, you give me something to do till we meet. I guess his only thing of getting rid of me was to tell me something to do.
Okay.
So he gave me a sadhana.
And okay, would you be able to share that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
And it can help everyone.
Okay.
And that is every day after your bath, make time for yourself, even if it's for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Have a place which is sanctified, means that is only for this purpose. Close your eyes and chant Om.
I see. Just for 2 minutes?
You can do it for 2 minutes, do it for 2 minutes. If you can do it for 10, do it for 10.
He said at least 2 minutes.
At least 2 minutes. Okay, and there is a particular way to chant and everything. So he says, can you do that? I said, I'm moksha, I can't do anything I want. So that started.
Okay.
And that was the best thing that has happened to me in my life.
I see. And this was 3 years back?
This was 3 years back.
I see.
And then my association with, we call him Swamiji. My association with Swamiji grew. He initiated me into a meditation practice,
okay.
Into a path, and
it's been great.
Not great. It is just life transforming.
Wow.
I can say I found what I'm looking for.
Okay.
I found the path to eternal bliss.
Okay.
I can feel that eternal bliss. I can feel it right now, and I know that it will keep growing. It's not something that happens once and it's over.
Right.
It's a continuous process, and it's something that is always with you. A firm belief that it is always with you. It is what you are, and whatever else is going on in the world is going on.
I see. So all the ups and downs is fine as it is.
It's a part of life. It's
Right.
a part of life. I mean, if you've taken birth, these are things which are going to continuously happen. It's a process. It's like if the sun rises, it has to set. If the what is that? Carousel goes up, it has to come down.
Okay.
It's a process, and it's a process which is actually helping you to clear your past and make yourself purer and purer, cleaner and cleaner.
Okay. So, Najoo, just before we go to the next section, I just want to know, is there any other things that you'd like to, bring about in your experiences?
During the time I was teaching SSY and the management program that I talked about, there was one more great influence that came into my life. This was a chance visit I made to an ashram in Gujarat, in a place called Dharampur, which is an ashram which belongs to a Guruji called Rakesh Bhai Zaveri. People call him Bappa or Param Pujya Rakesh Bhai Zaveri. And I just happened to go there in a big group. And I think that marked a very significant opening up in my life.
Okay.
In the sense that up till then, my spiritual journey was all about getting knowledge.
Yes.
Having an intellectual understanding about the truth and whatever, you know. Right. It was all intellectual.
Okay.
It was all about getting knowledge, sharing that knowledge, learning, teaching. When I went there, I was struck by the zeal of the devotees, the spiritual zeal, the way that the whole community, and he has a great gathering. He's got many followers, thousands of followers, all over the world.
Okay.
And young volunteers, we call them, but actually they are sevaks. And in his case, they were Atma Arpits, means they have given up their entire life and they have devoted it to their spiritual journey.
Okay.
I saw these young boys, girls, young men and women, their spiritual zeal with which they would do any seva, with which they would run the ashram, the way, simple things like the way the food was cooked and served in the canteen, the way they would set up an event, like the one who would even be putting a mic in front of their Guruji would be done with such reverence. What I would say is that an entire opening up of my heart happened at that time.
I see.
And I said there is more in a spiritual journey than just getting knowledge.
Okay.
It is about love. It is about devotion. It is about surrender. And if you see Vedanta, they say that there are different paths. There is Karma Yoga, there is Bhakti Yoga, and there's Jnana Yoga, there's Raj Yoga. There are all these different paths. And I think that my visit to Dharampur marked the birth of Bhakti in me.
All yogs are needed to go towards the top?
I would say so, in different proportions.
Okay.
Depending on my temperament, I will be drawn more towards one.
Okay.
But actually, if you see, it is a mixture of everything. To reach the top,
so your favorite would be Bhakti?
My favorite would be Gyan.
Okay. But
without Bhakti, Gyan is dry. Without Bhakti, the heart will not open.
I see. So so what you're saying is that it cannot be Gyan only.
Nothing can be only.
I see.
None of the three can be only. It has to be a beautiful confluence, I will say. A beautiful confluence of all three. It's like three rivers are merging together and going to the ocean.
I see.
And
so which were the three? Would you say Gyan is definitely required, but not
Gyan is required. If you don't have Gyan, you don't know where you're going.
Which direction to go.
Which direction you're going.
All right.
If you don't have Bhakti, it is dry knowledge. You want to merge. The very word of merging with something is a dissolving of yourself. And where will you dissolve the most? You'll dissolve the most in love. It is only in love. Even in worldly love, forget divine love. If you're talking about love between a man and a woman, or a mother and a child, it cannot be love if there is ego.
Yes.
So there is a dissolving of ego. A dissolving of ego means a dissolving of I and you.
Okay.
It becomes one.
So you're saying at the Bhakti Yoga, the ego is at...
it dissolves.
It dissolves.
It dissolves. It completely dissolves. Real Bhakti means I have surrendered. It is a surrender. In Bhakti, there has to be it happens. The surrender simply happens. Where it starts with surrender to a guru. And a guru is basically a representative of that divine power in an earthly, worldly form.
Okay.
So when you surrender first to a guru, automatically you are paving your way to a higher surrender.
And what's the third one you said? One is Gyan, Bhakti, and the third one?
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga would be the...
Karma Yoga, we will talk a little later regarding Karma Yoga.
Okay.
It's basically how to do your actions without incurring karma.
Okay. So you're saying this experience allowed you to, you actually became Bhakti Yoga.
I will say why I would say this was a big milestone in my spiritual journey is because when I saw the interaction between the devotees and their guru, I was struck by the spiritual zeal with which they were serving their guru. I was inspired by the way the guru lovingly took care of his disciples. It was almost like a father and a mother together taking care of their children in one person.
And you were actually playing the role of a child.
I was an observer.
But then where's the experiential part?
I'll tell you. And also the yearning started in that was the experience. The yearning in me.
You wanted to be that child.
I want to experience that zeal.
I see.
I want to experience that bond with a guru. And I think the seed of finding a guru was born there.
And then when you came back, you found another guru?
When I came back, life continued. I went back there once again to actually attend an entire weekend shibir, a meditation camp with them. I could have easily made Rakesh Bhai Zaveri my guru, but I don't know, it didn't happen.
I see.
It just did not happen at that time. But I think that birth took place.
There.
And that thing of, there has to be something from the heart. And it's not only intellectual growth, There has to be an opening up of the heart. That bhakti was born there, and I think that churning happened over there of wanting to surrender to someone. But it was just a question of finding the right person to surrender to.
And that happened when you came back?
And that happened much later, when I came back and I found Swamiji. And then it was not that I had to think, is this the person I have to surrender to? It just happened. It just happened. And there is one saying, they say when the Shishya is ready, the Guru appears.
Right.
And I think I had to make myself ready by opening up my heart, so that when my Guru appeared, I surrendered on the spot. There was no time lag, there was no intellectual decision, is this my Guru or not?
It just happened.
It was natural.
That's nice.
And it's not that I had not been exposed to other Gurus, as I talked earlier. I was exposed to Osho, I was exposed to the Guruji in SSY. I was exposed to José, Silva, I was exposed to all these people. But that thing that this is the person that I want to surrender to, it never happened. And I guess it was an automatic build-up. And then I met Swamiji, and that was my Sadguru. I mean, I knew it on the spot, and that's how I am here today. So these were the major influences I can say in my life.
So I have some questions. Now that people have got I know this was a lovely introduction on your spiritual
maybe too long.
but that's nice. It's nice. It puts things in perspective. The questions I have maybe are connected, maybe are disconnected, but for me I feel they're connected in my own, search and my own path. One of them is, can you talk to us a little bit about what you've understood as karma? And what to do with it? Is it something that anything has to be done about it?
Lots has to be done.
So it's something I'd like to get your views on.
It's very beautiful. Actually, it makes a lot of sense. It brings some kind of meaning to your life, to the nonsensical, whimsical pattern of life. There is actually a meaning. Any action you take has to have an effect. You drink a glass of water, your thirst is quenched. So every action has an effect. Therefore, every action is the cause of an effect. Every action produces an effect.
Got that.
Right? Some effects are felt immediately. Like you drink water, thirst is quenched. If you smoke cigarettes, after 10 years, what will be the effect? Lungs are ruined.
You might end up with cancer.
Correct. If you continue doing that for a long time, after 10 years, you might die also. So some effects are felt immediately.
Some take time.
Some take time. And if you believe in reincarnation, because everyone doesn't believe, and I'm not here to impose my beliefs on anyone. If you believe in reincarnation, then the law of karma says that you can feel the effect of a particular action which you have done in one lifetime, you can feel it in another lifetime also. So most people say when you die empty-handed, you take nothing back with you. No, you do.
You take your karma.
You take your karmas, you take your vasanas, which are all your unfulfilled desires. And you take your sadhnas, which are all your spiritual practices. So any spiritual practice you do in one lifetime, even if you have not reached your highest spiritual growth, they're not wasted. In the next lifetime, you will be born in a situation where you'll be able to continue your sadhanas from the level at which you left them.
So this is a belief system?
This is a belief system.
Karma is a belief system?
It's a belief system. And so everything that happens to you in this lifetime, the fact that we are sitting together here is an effect of something that has happened earlier. You understand that?
Yes.
And so now this action which we are actually doing now will produce another effect later. So it's a continuous chain of cause and effect. And the effect becomes the cause of another effect.
Okay, got that.
Alright?
Got it.
Now, if you believe in reincarnation,
Yes.
then you will probably believe that we have had many lifetimes before this.
Okay.
And according to the Upanishads and ancient Indian belief systems, you may have lived lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of lives. And some people say 84,000 lakhs of lives.
That many.
Okay.
Okay.
In each lifetime, you have done many actions.
Okay.
Right? Like you have done many actions in this lifetime.
Sure.
All the actions that you do are stored in one bank balance, you can say, of actions.
Okay.
Bank balance of causes.
Okay.
Now, when you take birth in the next life, you choose some of those actions or some of those karmas to finish off, to feel the effect in this lifetime.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with birth. Let's start with birth. You are born.
Okay.
Once you are born, you do some activities. Activities cause effects. Then you die. Now, if those effects have not yet been, you have not fulfilled, you have not got the effect of that, then where has it gone? It's gone with you after death into one bank balance.
Okay.
So now you've got this huge bundle of karmas. That means actions you have done of which you have not yet experienced the fruit of that action.
Okay.
Like you spent your whole life eating 10 batata vadas every day and you died, but you did not get diabetes or whatever. So maybe in one next life that karma of diabetes has to come to you.
I see.
It's a very mundane, stupid example, but just to make it more tangible.
Okay, okay.
Okay? So now you've got this huge bank balance of karmas of which you've been collecting from lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime.
Right.
So now you're dead and you've got this thing. But you have also the choice to come back in another lifetime, right?
Okay.
So from this huge bank balance of karmas, you choose some karmas to experience in your next lifetime.
Okay.
So you are born again with this small bundle. From this huge bundle, you are born with this small bundle and you take birth again.
Okay.
So everything that will happen to you in your next life are the things you have chosen to experience.
So let me ask you this question. This belief system, okay, I heard a sentence which I cannot say for sure makes sense,
okay,
but it resonates, and that is we are basically all eternal beings, spirit, that come and take human experiences.
Okay, actually it's Deepak Chopra's saying.
I think
we are all spiritual. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Right, something to that effect. So that made, I mean, I don't know that. I have no way to prove that. But for me, as an individual, it resonates.
Okay, but this has nothing to do with law of karma.
Well, the reason why I'm tying this, first of all, what do you feel about that statement in terms of, now that's a whole bunch of crap, or yes, it's very, very, it's correct, or whatever you want to say. Where do we stand on that? And then, based on your response to that, how does it tie in with karma? Why would we want to build this karma? So,
we don't want to build any karma. Our purpose is to finish our karma.
So, going back to the statement of what Deepak Chopra said,
it's the basic truth.
It is. So you believe that
is
true.
100% believe it.
This is just a way we manifested in. We live 60, 70, 80 years, 90 years, and then go back. So we're still eternal beings.
We are. The name of my workshop is We Are One.
Okay.
We Are One means that we are all just that one primal energy. We are just one energy in different forms.
Right.
It's like a prism.
Yeah.
When you put one white light through a prism, there's only one light. But when it goes through the prism, it manifests into 7 different colored lights.
So you and I are just a manifestation of a particular light.
Because we are going through the prism of body, mind, intellect.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Now, having said that, and you're saying that it is true, that sentence or that statement is true
Yeah.
in a belief system,
Yeah.
how does that not imply, or can you tell me how does that relate with karma? Why would we want to go through human experiences to build karma, and do we have to get rid of it?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm asking multiple questions
No,
in there.
I understand. These are doubts of a seeker. These are questions of a seeker.
Right.
And my job is to answer them. Have you heard of a spider spinning its web?
It spits it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where is the web? Is it coming from outside anywhere? It's from within.
Okay.
Okay. So the spider projects its web from within
Okay.
and creates what looks like something else.
Okay.
Right? So you feel one is the spider and a separate entity is the web.
I see.
Alright? It looks like that.
Okay.
When it wants to destroy the web, it simply takes it back into it.
Oh,
Okay?
I didn't know that.
Now, that energy which has no name, no form, no description, not tangible, eternal, it is always there. Okay? That energy is always there. It has simply created human form, or it has simply created this world from itself.
Okay.
If you create from itself, that means what you are and what you have created is the same thing.
Correct.
So we are one.
Right.
We are only that energy.
Correct.
Okay.
Got that.
Alright. Now, that energy is formless. It cannot experience anything. So to experience
Okay.
itself,
It
it had to create certain forms. And to create certain forms, it had to vibrate at different frequencies. So what we think is solid or liquid or gas is only energy, where the atoms and molecules are more densely packed. This is solid.
Okay.
When the atoms are more fluid, that is
Liquid.
liquid, and spacious, that is gas.
Okay.
Okay? So we need different kinds of molecules to form this kind of different matter.
I see. I see.
Okay?
Okay.
So there are three different kinds of what they call temperaments or gunas that were created, which is called sattvic, rajasic and tamasic.
Okay.
And based on these different gunas, there are different tendencies of how people perform or function in the world.
Okay.
God or that energy has not created karmas. As we have moved in the world,
Yeah.
because we were ignorant of our divine origin and we could only see what was created, we found our own methods of dealing with the world, and we have only entangled ourselves in this web which has been created.
I see. And the goal for a person
Is to come out of this web and go back like the spider, this web, go back into the source.
And karma holds us back.
Karma holds us back. Our only one thing holds you back, and that is you identifying yourself as separate from the source.
So all of this big baggage of karma can
It's because you're doing it because you think you're separate.
So it will disappear the moment you realize?
Good question. The karma which you are born with,
Yeah.
it's called prarabdha,
Yeah.
continues till the body dies.
Okay.
But the whole bank balance,
Yeah.
wiped out.
If you
And
understand.
if you're enlightened, if
you
you've got that
understand.
click here.
If you
If
get
you
it.
realize your true self, if you realize, truly have the experience, I am that divine energy from where I have come, when you get that, it's an experience, not just theoretical knowledge, not just logically understanding, but a feeling that you get through your entire body. It's called nishtha, Brahma nishtha. Like you are so firmly convinced that you are Rishi and you are male. Okay, you don't need to second guess, you don't need to check, you don't need to do any research. You don't need any reference books. You are firmly, you have a nishtha. I am Rishi and I am male. When that kind of firm conviction comes, I am that, all your past karmas are over.
I see. So it's kind of tempting because karma seems like some baggage.
No, it is a baggage. It is a bondage. It is a baggage.
Okay.
But the thing is, all our senses go outward, and this is the only reality that 99% of the population of the world sees as reality.
Okay.
And when you go do any activity in the outside world, the results come very fast.
Okay.
Like you want to be happy, you just have to go to the store, buy one ice cream, suck it, and you're happy.
Okay.
It's like instant gratification.
I see.
This seems like easier to do.
Right.
Then do all this work of going inside and finding your connection to the Supreme. Forget it. I'm not going to waste my time because it's not tangible. I don't know whether I will get it. There is no guarantee of success. But ice cream, I know.
Okay. Okay.
But they won't think that when the ice cream is over, I'm again going to suffer the pangs of not having it.
Okay.
So temporary happiness is more easy than obviously eternal bliss.
Right. Right. Eternal bliss. Now, I'm just trying to figure out if this is something that when we leave the body and go back into, let's say we believe in reincarnation and we leave the body and what happens? We connect with, what happens after that if you were to describe it? And not that something that you know, but it's a belief system again. What happens? You go to a place where you can see,
according to Vedanta, the last thought that you have at the time of death will determine your next life.
And that happens instantly, or there's a gap of time? I mean, time now, of course, is...
We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know. But I have read what the rishis have said, and that there is probably a time in between where you either have to pay up for your good deeds or for your bad deeds.
So karma goes both ways.
Yeah, both ways. Even good actions incur good karma, and even good karma binds you to another life.
Right. So somebody donated a charitable hospital in his name.
You will definitely enjoy between one life and the other life. You will enjoy some very good heavenly comforts.
Okay.
And then you will come back again because you still have to, you've still got karma. Even good karma is binding. Even bad karma is binding.
So helping somebody is building positive karma?
Yes, it's building, but it's still building karma.
So you're helping me right now understand this information.
Yes.
Is that building positive karma for you?
Very good question. You see, our rishis were geniuses.
Okay.
After telling you everything about how much to build karma, they have also given you the technology of doing actions without building any karma.
Okay, so how does that work?
It's all there in Bhagavad Gita, and it's called Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga.
Okay.
Karma Yoga is the way of removing all your bank balance, sanchit karma.
Okay.
Being active in the world.
Okay.
Doing the actions
without building positive
without building any karma.
Any positive or negative. I see. So it's called Karma Yoga. People interested
there are 4 steps.
4 steps to that. You want to touch upon the steps, or it's better somebody goes to...
No, I can tell you in brief. If I tell you, it's not that you can do it.
Okay. It's like, you've come with the carrot now this far. Tell me, what are the 4 steps?
I will tell you, but unless you have a master to guide you,
I see.
How, it's all very simple. Open for everyone to read. You go on the net, type Karma Yoga, everything will be given to you.
Okay.
But let's see how you can do it.
Okay, let's hear the 4 steps anyway. It'll be interesting. We've come so far.
And that's why I can say I'm doing this action without incurring any karma.
Okay, great. Okay.
The first step is do everything, but don't be the doer.
So right now you're doing this interview with me.
But I am not doing. I am not taking the thing on my head that I am doing an interview.
Okay.
I am just the medium through which my Guruji's knowledge is going to Rishi. And through Rishi it's going to everybody else.
Okay.
So I am just the medium
Okay.
through which information is being spread. This is the basis on which Sai Club is run.
I see.
Okay.
So what is it again? The first thing says,
I am not the doer.
I am not the doer. Okay.
I am not the doer.
Okay.
I am just like a flute.
Let the
The
wind
music
blow.
is coming through and through the other holes it's going out.
Correct.
Okay, I am not
Correct.
the doer.
Okay.
If I am not the doer,
Yes.
then I cannot be the enjoyer of the outcome.
Okay. So you're not enjoying this?
What is enjoyer? Enjoyer means taking the credit.
Ah,
Taking the credit.
I see.
So, I never asked you what will I get from this interview.
Right. How much are you paying me?
How much are you paying me? I'm not even interested in the payment. I'm not interested whether it will actually go on YouTube or not.
Okay. Right.
I'm not even interested whether it actually helps you or not.
Okay.
I don't care. I am just doing what I'm meant to do.
So here-
I'm not the doer.
So I need to ask a question at this point, because maybe language is limited,
Very limited.
and maybe you can help clarify, because when you say that you're not enjoying,
Enjoying is
doesn't
not
mean-
like I'm not liking it.
Okay.
That's the third step.
Okay.
That's the third point.
Okay. So maybe you can go through this.
So when the enjoyer word is like in Sanskrit, it's called karta bhav.
Okay.
No karta bhav and no bhokta bhav.
To
That
credit.
means not having any expectation of the fruit of the action.
Okay. Okay.
I have no expectations from this interview.
But then, how does that tie in with when you say that you have your focus? Earlier on, when we spoke, we said that this has been my spiritual journey.
Yes.
And for me now, I've done my family life. I've been the wife,
Correct.
been the mother, all of that.
Correct.
Now my only focus is that even if one person
Gets
is
it.
able to get it,
So my job is what? To share.
okay.
To share. Simple.
Whether you get it or not is not
Whether
in your.
somebody gets it or not, I am sharing. If someone gets it, good.
Even if one person.
Even if one person gets, and even if that person doesn't get, then also I will share. For example, the emails for Sai Club go to almost 200 people.
Okay.
Okay? Now I'm not thinking, will 200 people come? Will 100 people come? How many will come? Whoever comes, comes.
Okay.
From whoever comes and I'm speaking,
Yeah.
5 may fall asleep also.
Okay.
Okay? 5 may be very interested.
Right.
And for one, their life has changed.
Right. So it was not an expectation you
It's
had.
not expectation. Even if it changes, it changes. If it doesn't change, next life it may change.
Okay.
Or something, or whatever. I cannot base my activity on what is the impact on somebody else. So that comes to the third point.
Okay, which is?
Do whatever you're doing 100%.
Okay.
Do it because you want to do it. You enjoy doing. Otherwise, don't bother doing it at all.
Okay.
Do it 100%. So, if you do anything 100%, I can guarantee you that it will be excellent.
I see.
And when it is excellent, the outcome will automatically be excellent. So why worry about the outcome?
I see. Just do it 100%.
Just do it 100%.
Okay.
If I'm deciding to say yes to your interview, I am doing it because I love to do it. I will give my 100%.
I see.
Whether it never gets shown on anything,
Right.
or whether tomorrow you'll go home and delete the entire thing, I simply don't mind.
Right. Okay.
Okay, I simply don't mind.
So let's go through these 3 steps again. First one is,
I'm not the doer.
I am not the doer.
I'm not the expector. See, I'm not going to use the word enjoyer because it's confusing.
Right.
I'm not going to expect any outcome.
Right. No credit, no guarantees
Correct.
of the outcome.
Do everything 100%.
And now
And
the
the fourth.
one.
people get scared when they hear the thing, if I do anything, I will get karma.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
So I'll not do anything.
Just sit down in one place.
Just sit down doing nothing. Then you are a parasite.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Because your choice of not doing anything is also an action.
Wow. Okay. I
It
think
is also an action.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sitting here, this is also an action.
Right.
Okay? I'm going to sleep for 10 years as also an action.
Right.
I have to bear the karma of that also.
Okay. So you can just sit around and do nothing.
Yeah. You have to contribute. You have to actively do something.
Okay.
But if you do it with these 4 things,
Yeah.
it is doing karma kushal purvak. In Upanishads it is called kushal purvak. Means that kush is a kind of a grass.
Okay.
Which is very pokey.
Okay.
Okay, but you need that grass for doing puja.
Okay.
So when the priests in the ancient times, rishis and all would want to do one havan or one puja, they would need that grass.
Okay.
And they would send their disciples to go to the mountains and pick it.
Up. Okay.
But you cannot cut it. The rule was you cannot cut this grass. You have to uproot it.
Which is
and in the back, you're going to poke.
Okay.
So there was a technology, a technique of pulling the grass without cutting.
Okay.
So that was called doing karma without cutting.
Okay.
So there is a way of doing action in the world without creating karma, without cutting.
Okay, so let's run these 4 steps again. The first one is
I'm not the doer.
I'm not the doer.
I don't expect any outcomes from this.
No outcome, no results.
I do everything 100%.
And 4th one?
I should not do any action also.
Right, not doing action. Not doing anything is also building karma.
Correct.
Because of the choice of
It's
you
a choice.
doing nothing.
It's a choice. You have taken a decision.
To do nothing.
Yeah.
Wow. I think this is nice. This kind of helps probably further clarifies the thing of the whole karma thing. Great. Now I just want to probably move it to something else, which I'm not again sure whether it is relevant or not for you to talk about. But I'm still in the look at this information, go here, go there. I'm still window shopping on spirituality.
Right.
And it kind of, as I said, on the net, it has a way of, I send some information to somebody and he writes back to me and says, oh, but have you heard of this one? And I'm like, no, let me check it out. And I go look at that, and then that person says, have you checked this one out? And it keeps going. It's a never-ending process. And one thing I've concluded is that the more I think I know, the more I'm beginning to realize how little I know.
Correct. It's like if you want to start a journey, you want to go for a vacation, you can go on the net and you can find million destinations, right? You can go for a holiday here, you can go for a holiday, you should do the research.
Right.
But if you want your holiday to begin, if you want your vacation to begin, you got to start the journey.
Right.
You've got to choose one and then you've got to go there. You cannot think I'll go to Ooty and I'll also go to Srinagar and I will also go to Calcutta and Darjeeling and Kailash, Mansarovar. Then you'll not reach anywhere.
But just think, in my case, I'm beginning to understand.
You means a seeker.
As in, okay. Okay, not me as in
not
me specifically.
Not Mr. Rishi, no.
Sure. But I think where I was going was when I bump into so much information, there's a lot of people giving seminars, talking about it, and the word spirituality comes in, and the words that come along with it is words like ascension, and then there's this date 2012, okay, and people who are talking spiritual stuff bring up these dates. They talk about galactic alignment of planets and solar systems, that energies will come. So some are scientifically inclined, some of them are just religious inclined or spiritually inclined on what's happening. That there's a window of opportunity for humanity to actually awaken, or I don't know whether awaken is the appropriate word. Or
it is very much awaken. Awaken is a very good word.
Okay, so do you have, or does Guruji talk, or does anything about this particular date or this year in the calendar, or does ascension mean anything? Does you have anything to share or comment on that?
Frankly, I'm not an expert in this field.
Okay.
So whatever I will say will be my personal opinion.
Okay.
And it may be incomplete knowledge on my part.
Okay.
But if you ask me for my opinion, then I can give an opinion.
Yeah, sure.
So 2012 doesn't have any significance for me, in the sense that I'm quite convinced that there is no need to look for awakening with a deadline of 2012. There is no deadline as such.
Okay.
Okay. I think it's a continuous process. It has been going on from the beginning of time. And according to Upanishads, we have certain yugs.
Yeah. How long is it? 26,000 years?
Much more.
Oh, okay.
Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of centuries.
Okay.
Okay. And we are still in the last stage, we are in Kali Yuga. After Kali Yuga, what will happen? They say the universe will dissolve. Dissolve means what? It's like the web which will go back into the spider.
I see. That's what they meant.
Yeah. And then after that time, when Brahma, it's called, we call it, for lack of any other word, we call it Brahma in Upanishad. When Brahma wants to manifest himself again, the web will come out again.
Okay.
You understand? So it's a continuous process, and it always is, and it always was, and it always will be. And man is in a continuous process of going back to that source. So I don't want to be going back to my source on gunpoint, that before 2012 you better do it. I find it's not possible. It's not like you can do it by this date. It is, each person is on a different level of evolution, and it will take as long as it takes. And some will evolve before 2012, and some will continue to evolve in 2012, and some will evolve after 2012, and nothing is going to happen to the planet.
No, I think basically from the more I understand about this information, which I'm accessing on the net, is that it's not exactly like a date that everyone will get enlightened, but it's kind of like, let me try and give an example for the people in Bombay who use local trains.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to get off at Dadar station in a packed train,
yeah,
all you need to do is focus that you're standing in the right direction, and you come in the path of the doorway somewhere, so that there are people behind you that want to get off at Dadar.
Yes, yes.
You're not standing in the opposite direction.
Correct.
And then when the stop arrives, you don't really have to do anything. You just get out of the station at the other station.
But this is a good example. But only difference is that in awakening, there is no one particular station at which you can only get off. You can get off right now.
Right.
You can get off, and the stations are at every stop. You can get off at Kolaba, you can get off at Churchgate, you can get off at Borivali, Kandivali, anyway. It's not just Dadar that you can get off.
Yeah, no, the analogy was more to explain about standing in the way so that you get carried away rather than, doing something about it, because now it's Dadar station has arrived.
Nobody can like push you there. It's an inner journey. No number of 100 people behind you are going to, you cannot get off on momentum. Awakening is not by momentum.
Well, then explain to me, how is it that so many people are suddenly now interested in this? Why is it happening now? Why is it that, is it just that they were always interested in this, or?
No. What makes you think it's only happening now?
Maybe it's because of the access to internet.
Exactly, that's all.
So,
in fact, it was happening much more in Satyug.
Okay.
In Satyug, they say all were Rams
Okay.
with one Ravan.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone was getting enlightened. As people evolve, now we have come to Kali Yuga. Now we can say that there are Ravans in every Ram.
Okay.
So I don't think that people are getting more spiritually evolved now. We were much more spiritually evolved.
No, I don't think they are getting evolved now as much as at least
They're just getting aware.
They're just getting attracted to this information.
This is just media. It is media, and you know, you are very versatile and very clever with the computer and things like that. You know that if you want hits to your site, there are certain words which need to come the maximum time in your site for the person to hit, for it to come on the first on the Google search, right?
Right.
So if I want maximum people to come to my way of thinking or my group or my belief system, I can very cleverly engineer that by putting spirituality million times in my website. Then my spirituality will come first up.
Okay.
Okay. Just because media has given us all these technologies, we feel spirituality is becoming more and more. This is a time of everything is happening. No, it's always happening. It's always happening, and it has always happened through creation. It has been happening.
Okay.
We are just becoming more and more egoistic. We are just becoming really more egoistic to think we are causing it to happen and we are the chosen people. What nonsense. We are not anything chosen or anything. Just as many people as are interested in spirituality, that much more not interested in spirituality also. We are just in a very small little minority, I will say.
I see. Like, if you were to give it a percentage?
No, I can't. I have no idea.
How to
Except that even what I'm talking now with you,
yeah.
Do you think if I go down at the railway station and talk these things, how many people will understand?
They may not understand English language, but...
Okay, if I say it in Hindi, how many people at the bus stop out of 20 people will be interested in what we're talking?
They might be interested or are already doing things that take them to this information in a different way. For example, I'll share one experience that made me think differently because you brought this up. I took a cab, I think from town to Chembur, and the guy started the conversation. It's not even me. The guy started this conversation about, he said it in Hindi, so my Hindi is not very good, but he said it something to the fact that, you know, we don't really exist and we are just here.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this guy's talking some deep stuff. How did he figure out all this?
No. Everybody knows, and at least in India,
yeah.
I think we have one great thing going for us, and that is we have a faith in a higher power.
Okay.
We believe in a higher power, which is not always so in other cultures. So definitely everyone has a basic belief system. Most people in India will have faith. Most people, for whatever motives, for gaining something or out of fear, but they have a belief that there is something greater. And everyone, whether you are a seeker, a saint, or a sinner, you are on the spiritual path.
Okay.
By the very fact that you exist, you are in the journey.
That applies to life forms that are even the chair and
everything.
The ant.
Everything.
And the elephant.
Not chair, I would say anything that has a consciousness. There are jad, insentient and sentient beings.
Well, that's interesting because that kind of leads me to this next question I have. Can you share anything on dimensions? I'm hearing a lot of things on dimensions.
These words are, I'll call it jargon, spiritual jargon.
Okay.
Different words mean different things to different people. Maybe what and I haven't studied that belief enough to know exactly what they mean by dimension.
Yeah.
Maybe you can.
I can give an example of what I read somewhere, or again watched a video somewhere, and they were trying to explain how to imagine another dimension. For example, we are as human beings in kind of 3 dimensions. Okay. Well, actually, they also spoke of being in 4 dimensions, because the 4th dimension, they call it. So you have left, right, and then forward. So you've got 3 dimensions, and you can move in these 3 dimensions. But then you can also, there was a past, which is the email we sent saying, can we fix up a time for today? And at that time, this was the future, but although this is right now.
Yeah.
And at some point, you're going to have dinner this evening, you know, whether it's the family or you're going out somewhere. So there is a future. The thing is, time is something that we can't move in this 4th dimension, if you want to call it a dimension. But if we take it one step down, let's say there's only 2 dimensions, there's only left and right. Okay, there's no up and down. There's only one plane.
Okay.
And imagine the plane to be a newspaper. And there's this ant who's a 2-dimensional creature. Right now it is 3 because he's got height also, no matter how small. But let's say he's flat. He only exists in this left and right signal. And if he reaches the end of the newspaper, if we in our dimension are able to fold the newspaper and let him cross over from one part of the newspaper to the other end of the newspaper and bend it over, he'll this thing, how did I magically disappear from here and appear there?
Okay.
And that's because we understand 3 dimensions.
Okay.
And we understand the concept of a fold because we live in it.
Okay.
Now, they said if you apply the same concept, you cannot imagine it because we're 3-dimensional or 4-dimensional. We cannot imagine what the 5th dimension or the 6th dimension is. But if you apply this rule to understand 2 to 3 and say, yeah, of course, if you do the same and there's a fold in space and time, and you can suddenly be here and you could be somewhere else at another point, that's 5th dimension.
So this is a very ancient technology.
Okay.
And our rishis have practiced it.
So they can be in multiple places 100%. At the same time.
They can. There are 8 siddhis which through sadhanas they have mastered 8 siddhis or 8 powers.
Okay.
And one of them is to travel.
Right.
Anywhere in the world.
At any time.
At any time.
Right. Or be in the same place at multiple
places at the same time. Or become very small and enter any space.
Right.
Or become extremely huge.
Right.
These are siddhis. And siddhis are powers that you will get automatically as you progress in your sadhanas.
I see.
And if you want to focus on a particular siddhi, like you want to master a particular siddhi of becoming small or whatever, then you only practice those sadhanas and you master that. Okay. But my question is, how does this help you realize your divine potential? This siddhi or hankering after siddhis is actually an obstacle to your spiritual growth.
Now let me reverse the question. Why do people who have this capability move in dimensions beyond the 3rd or 4th dimension? Why do they travel?
I don't know why they travel. Then you have to ask those people why they want to travel, because it is definitely not. What is the danger? There are several dangers, and those who are seriously in the Vedantic tradition or the Upanishad tradition, those who are seriously interested in moksha, that is in dissolving this identity of self, limited self, and merging with the eternal self, with the omniscient being, energy. For those people, when they get siddhis, it's a huge ego trip. It's a huge ego trip. And now you get stuck over there because you have gone on a diversion. And this diversion is nothing to do with the merging. We are trying to dissolve the self. Instead of that, now you're taking this self and multiplying it, or you're taking this self and saying, I can do this or I can do that. It is contradictory to dissolving.
And so then, an autobiography of a yogi, the ascended masters or the Gurujis, whatever they're called, who can move in dimensions.
They must do it in Karma Yoga. And that is the thing with reading these scriptures. People take things out of context.
So is it they must do it in Karma Yoga or they do it in
Karma? They do it in Karma Yoga. It does not hinder their spiritual progress. They do it only after they have reached a certain, not all of them, but I know that in Autobiography of a Yogi, these are enlightened beings who are practicing this. But if you're a seeker and you get stuck in Siddhis, you'll be stuck there only.
So you're saying that one can travel in multiple dimensions without getting enlightened?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I thought that was only the other way around.
No.
That you can only...
No, you will get stuck over there. You can do. There are tantrics and all who will give you those things also to do.
I see.
There are shortcuts also. But then now you're wasting this life.
Okay.
Because it's not so easy.
Okay.
It's a great spiritual sadhana to do over there.
Okay.
Then now your whole energy is gone there. And there's a different sadhana, there's a different path for merging, for dissolving, for just being one with everyone. And then there's a different thing of doing this. It depends. Some people may want that, some people may want this. Depends on what you want.
I see. Can you talk a little bit about channeling and guidance, and how does that, does that work? As in, are you channeling right now when you talk, or?
I don't know exactly the meaning of channeling.
Okay.
What I understand is that another being takes over my body and speaks through me. Is that channeling?
Sometimes my understanding itself is still, I'm in the progress of understanding, which is why I asked the question.
Yeah.
But the one person I spoke to said that channeling could be, while I'm talking, I might be channeling. So I might be fully aware and conscious of what I'm saying. At the same time, it could not be coming from, my head.
Okay.
Or my experience or my understanding.
Okay.
And you might say something and you might think, hey, where did that come from?
No, I'm not channeling.
Okay. This is coming out of your brain and experience.
Coming definitely out of my experience.
This life experience.
This life experience is dependent on all my past life experiences.
Also, okay, right. Okay, so that's about the channeling part of it. In terms of guidance, that why I brought channeling and guidance together, because I think most people hit a roadblock and not sure what to do about something in their lives at many times, and there's always this thing about,
Fine, get some guidance.
Get your own guidance. Connect with your own higher self. Sometimes that's the word is used as connect with your higher self.
Yeah.
Get your own guidance.
How will you know that you're getting that guidance from your higher self? And what is higher self?
So how would you explain that? I mean, what would you like to comment on that statement when people say connect with your higher self? What would you like to share about it?
When you want to get guidance, then you should get guidance from someone who can guide you.
So is there a higher self?
Yeah, one second.
Okay.
If you want to go to Timbuktu, who will you ask? Somebody who's been to Timbuktu.
Or a travel agency, whatever.
A travel agent. Travel agent will also give you guidelines.
Right.
He will say, take this plane, get off here, this airport, then get in a bus and then get a guide.
Yeah, over there we'll send you to the guide.
Right. Finally that guide, if you want to go to Mansarovar or you want to go to Kailash, you have to take that Sherpa with you. Why? Because he's done this trip thousands of times.
Fair enough.
So that is the importance of having a live person who has been there, who knows the way, who also knows the pitfalls on the way, knows where the khaddas are, knows the shortcuts also, and is able to hold your hand and take you. Okay? This person who has been there and can come back and take you there is called Sadguru. Then people say, but I am also God and he is also God, and why don't I just ask my own self?
Right.
Good. So when you close your eyes and you ask yourself and you get an answer, how can you be sure that that answer is not coming from your previous experiences, from your limited ego, from your intellect which is just judging? How do you know from where that answer is coming? So how do we process information in the mind? That is important to know.
Yeah.
You see things in the outside world through your five senses. You experience things, you experience things in the outside world through your five senses. Those five senses are just like newspaper reporters.
Okay.
Like they will go, they will take one interview and they will put it down, and then they have to go to the newspaper office and submit that article.
Okay.
In the newspaper office, there's one clerk who simply collects that information.
Okay.
That is your mind.
Okay.
Okay? But the clerk doesn't know what to do with this information.
Right.
The clerk is confused. So the clerk has to go to the editor and ask the editor
to make some sense out of it.
What should we do with this? I'm just the
guy who brings
I'm just the postman,
right,
messenger, who's brought what the reporters have done.
Right.
Similarly, the mind does not know what to do with this information, so he goes to the editor. The editor is your intellect.
Okay.
Okay? Now, intellect is also sullied. The intellect is also dulled because of so many past experiences.
Okay.
So, intellect, what does the editor do? The editor says, let's find out from archives whether this kind of article was good, bad, ugly, got good response, got bad response, what were the ratings.
Okay.
He goes to the archives and finds out from experience, what shall we do with this new article.
Okay.
Similarly, the intellect goes to that part of the mind which is called chitta,
okay,
where all the storehouse of past experience has been kept.
Okay.
And through its limited experience of past experiences, it says, this is good, this is bad, this is nice, this is pleasure, this is pain, this gives sorrow, this gives joy.
Okay.
This you should do, this you should not do.
Okay.
Okay? Now in all this, there is one owner of the newspaper company.
Yeah.
Who is a dormant partner over there. He doesn't do any activity, but he wants to take the credit of all the activities.
Okay.
So when the editor says, this is good, the owner says, yeah, that's my decision.
Okay.
When the archive says anything, it is I who said it. If the reporters have written anything, he says, I was instrumental in getting this. So he takes the credit. That is our ego.
Okay.
Okay, so our mind has got four functions.
Okay.
Receiving information, storing information, deciding based on past experiences, and ego, who kind of takes the credit of everything.
Okay.
Once he takes the credit of everything, then instructions have to be given. Print.
Yeah.
Right, in the newspaper office.
Right.
Print this. So make the layout, you print it, you put the pictures, you put the captions. These are all our organs of action.
Okay.
So we have 5 organs of perception.
Okay.
And we have 5 organs of action.
Okay.
So now the ego will take credit of the action also.
Okay.
Okay. Now when you close your eyes and connect with the higher self, which voice are you hearing?
I see.
Are you hearing your ego? Are you hearing your chitta? Are you hearing your past experiences? Are you hearing the confusion of your mind? Which voice are you hearing, and how will you know it's the right voice? And tell you the truth, none of these are your higher self.
So the people who talk about higher self are saying what, in your opinion?
I don't know. How will I know?
Right. So you don't,
higher self is the hub. The higher self within you is there. It's the part which is only witnessing everything else that you are doing. It's the part of you which knows and observes that the mind is confused. It's the part of you that says, the body has seen this and now the body is going to eat that ice cream. It's that part of you which is not doing anything, is the observer of everything that your body is doing. It's the observer of your mind thinking. It's the observer of your intellect taking this decision. it's only the witness. It is never gets involved in any action. As you continue doing your sadhanas as prescribed by your Sadguru, all sadhanas, as I told you, are for what? For clearing the mind of all those 60,000 thoughts. And along with those 60,000 thoughts will be cleared that bank balance of past experiences which are coloring the intellect. As those things get cleared, as the mind starts getting more and more cleaner, it's able to defog the intellect.
Right.
And that it's like the specks gets clearer and
right.
clearer, and the intellect is closest to that higher self.
I see.
As the sadhanas keep working on clearing the mind, washing the mind, removing past experiences, removing the sense of limited self, the intellect goes clearer, 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 and it's a very small film between the intellect and that higher self. When that thing becomes completely clear, that film also clears out, chasma becomes clear. Now you can operate from that higher self. So it's not emotions or it's not thoughts, it's none of these things which are your higher self. Therefore, relying on a higher self without any spiritual practice or guidance from Sadguru could maybe lead to an erroneous judgment.
So you don't basically, in conclusion, you don't subscribe to this concept of listening to the higher self. If at all, by doing a sadhana and the clarity begins to clear and clear and clear, then you will automatically know that you're getting guidance from higher self.
Correct.
And you will act accordingly.
Correct.
Okay.
Higher self is good, but you should know how to listen to it. That's also a sadhana. How to tune into your higher self is also a sadhana.
So if somebody needs, how does one know when one finds, is there a way to know when one finds the right guru? Like how did you know you found the guru to help you with your sadhanas? Is there
Our scriptures give certain lakshans, certain signs of a Sadguru, but it's only a Sadguru for me may not be Sadguru for you.
Right.
Okay, that's one thing.
Right.
When what the Sadguru is saying, you have applied and it is giving you the results. It is making your life calmer, more easy, less complicated, and taking you towards joy. And then, in my case, since you asked, has given me that experience of eternal bliss, then I know I'm on the path.
I see. So each one will know that.
Yes, but to know that, first you have to jump in the pool.
Right. And the jump in one pool could be the act of surrendering, and then again surrender to, like for example, going with your experiences of Silva mind and SSY.
Exactly. As I said, I was a person who would jump in.
Okay.
And it was for me, it's very easy to surrender.
Okay.
So when I went to José Silva, I surrendered to José Silva.
Okay. Rajneesh.
I surrendered.
Okay.
Everywhere, SSY, I surrendered.
Okay.
And because I surrendered, and that's the crux.
Okay.
Because I surrendered, I could get 100% of what that method had to give me.
At that time. And when it was over, then you
I knew that
it
was time for me to move because I was not getting any more answers.
Okay.
And there was no one there to give me any more answers.
Right.
And then I found this person who could give me answers, and I surrendered.
Right.
And every time it's the surrender. Surrender is what? I become empty so I can receive.
Right.
But if my ego feels I know,
right,
I cannot surrender.
Right.
And if I cannot surrender, I cannot receive.
So in the Sai Club, for example, which is the program that you all meet on weekends, how does the sadhana work? Does a person come to you and say, Najoo, can you give me a sadhana? I need help here. How does that work?
That also happens.
Okay.
They come to my house. Many people come to my house. They have certain issues in their life which are actually their hurdles
Right.
for their spiritual progress.
Right.
And in whatever way I can help,
Yeah.
I help through the knowledge that my Guru has given me.
Okay.
And through my own personal experiences of how it had helped me.
Okay.
They will practice that for a while.
Or may not.
Or they may not.
Okay.
If they don't practice, they will come back for sure because
Okay.
it's not helped them.
Right.
And if they practice it and it helps them, that's good. If they practice and it doesn't help them, I still have my Sadguru.
Right. Okay. So
Because
you can
I'm
always...
not some egoistic, pompous ass to think I know everything. I'm saying I know nothing.
Okay.
I'm just the conveyor of knowledge
Okay.
which has come from centuries.
Okay.
And I don't profess to know everything.
Right.
So from my limited thing what I know, I help.
Yeah.
If that doesn't help, I always have the backup of my Guru, and I have taken many people to my Guru.
I see.
Many people.
Right.
But they should be ready
To
go.
go.
Okay.
Okay.
That is one.
Okay.
Then we study Bhagavad Gita
Okay.
once or twice a month.
Okay.
And Bhagavad Gita is just full of knowledge.
Okay.
It's just like every shlok is like wisdom coming from heaven directly to you.
Okay.
But that wisdom is no use unless it is applied.
Right.
So Vedantic teaching has 3 steps.
Okay.
It is called Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasana.
Okay.
Shravan means you hear.
Okay.
In the olden days, there was a guru and the Shishyas would hear.
Okay.
There was no textbook, there was no video, there was no CD, there was no internet. They just heard.
Right.
Then after hearing, they have to contemplate on it. That is
Yes.
called Manan.
Okay.
So you, he said like this and whatever, and let's see how it works and let's experiment and whatever. Manan, understanding. And then Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana means putting it into your life. Because until and unless you put it into your life, you can keep listening to million things and you'll still be stuck at stage 1.
Right.
So we do the Shravan during Bhagavad Gita studies,
Which is...
which is hearing.
Okay.
So we take a shlok, we take a verse, and then I explain it, and then I give the implications, and I give the examples, and whatever. We hear, then we contemplate on it. So let's see how it would apply in modern day.
Okay.
How does it apply in our context, in our life?
Okay.
And then at the end of that session, I give them a sadhana based on that learning.
Okay. And then they all do it or
And
not
then
do it based on
that's
their
up to
choice.
them.
That's
up to them. I'm not there to be a policeman.
Right.
My job is to give
The information.
the information, inspire, and to my small group, not the whole Sai Club, because everyone doesn't come for that Bhagavad Gita.
Right.
I have a separate group of 20-30 people who come regularly.
Okay.
For them, their inspiration goes separately from what it goes to Sai Club.
So, if you can help me out with... So let's say the people that are actually watching this and have managed to watch this far and want to know more about the Bhagavad Gita reading, for example.
Yeah.
Is there a way we can make this available to them? Is it possible to shoot video shoot this reading?
Definitely
So-
shoot an episode of Bhagavad Gita.
And one will be able to give them a taste of what it is.
Sure.
But is it like we'll be getting in midway or
Bhagavad Gita is a book you open on any page, it will apply to you.
There's no
Because
start and finish.
It's replete, it is full, it's chock-a-block with wisdom.
Okay. So it really, one doesn't have to feel like, oh, I'm already halfway through the course and you can maybe
People
he
are
was
joining.
just
People
meant
are
to
joining
join at that.
all the time.
Okay.
People are joining. It's like sometimes they say, no, when you're confused, open a good book
Okay.
on any page and
Right.
read it and you'll get your answer.
Right. It's like
I'm not
that.
saying that they, by hearing one reading of Bhagavad Gita, they will get an answer.
Right.
It may be for them, it may not be that be for them.
Okay.
Because we do it in lot of detail.
Okay.
It's not just a superficial reading.
But having the information out there for people who are not in Bombay,
Yeah.
do you feel it may help them and it will be a good thing to have them
Why
record
not?
it?
Why not?
Would you be open to a session?
In fact, we are planning now because we are trying to increase our Bhagavad Gita sessions,
Okay.
and it may not be possible for everyone to be in town
At that time. Yeah.
So we are toying with the idea of videoing it.
So when is that going to happen then?
Now it will happen Probably in the second or third week of Jan.
Okay. And that will be like a how many day program? How many hours?
It would normally we start at about 7 in the morning.
Okay.
And we kind of go on till about 9:30.
So about 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
And this will be how many such sessions?
Oh, it will be going on for the whole year.
Oh, okay. So you're going to start one fresh again?
No.
Oh,
it keeps going on. We are on the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, so basically somebody can just, and it's once a month, once a week?
So far it's been once a month. Now we're trying to make it twice a month.
Okay, okay. So it's possible to do a series of that and make it available?
It's possible.
Great. And just before we conclude, is there anything you'd like to leave the viewers who are watching this with any,
words of wisdom?
No, anything that you like to say, whatever that you want to share. At the end of the day, you said that this is all about sharing. Is there something you want to
know that you are on a spiritual path. Whether you are taking a shortcut or a long cut or a diversion, you are on a spiritual path. And whatever you are pursuing in this so-called life is always you are pursuing for happiness. But whatever happiness you are seeking in this outside world is only temporary happiness. And it will always be followed by unhappiness. Therefore, if you can divert some of that energy which you are striving for this temporary happiness in the outside world, if you could redirect it inwards, you will find your permanent happiness. You will find your eternal bliss. And once you find that eternal bliss, even the highest pleasure that you can ever imagine from the outside world will pale in comparison to that eternal bliss. Okay. It will be pika, it will be bland, it will be tasteless compared to eternal bliss. So it's worth it. Don't waste your energy and don't waste this beautiful human life. It's a gift to you. Every second that you use it for not finding your eternal bliss is an insult to this life.
Insult?
It's an insult because it's like somebody has given you a beautiful gift, maybe a golden cup, let's say, and you're using it for your just letting it roll on the floor and collecting junk and letting it tarnish. It's an insult to that gift which has been given to you, such a beautiful gift. You take that gift, see its real value and find its true potential. Human life. Next life, maybe cockroach.
That's not good.
Well, if you like to be a cockroach, who am I to stand in the way?
Well, thank you very much for this wonderful session, and I hope to do future sessions with you on the Bhagavad Gita.